The question that we've been asked is, I have my calendar in uLaw, and can I use it to be synchronized with other calendars that I use, like for example, say Google? The answer is absolutely yes. We synchronize 100% with Google. To do that, you go into the settings panel, go under calendar, and if you see here under synchronize, you would have an option to choose the Google calendar. If you click on this small black drop down icon, you see that there is no button to synchronize it. But the minute you enable synchronize with Google Calendar, hit the save button, now you will be given an option to actually synchronize with Google Calendar. As you see here now, you have a new option to authorize and then synchronize. You always have to authorize before you synchronize. So let's go through the authorization steps. So when you click on the sign into Google account authorize button, you will be brought to our page where you're authorizing uLaw with the permission to actually synchronize with your Google account. We basically put on the URL our client ID, which is certified to actually give you the permissions. So let me go ahead and click and authorize this account that I have with the permission to synchronize with my Google account. You will notice that I have my account here and I don't have any synchronization yet. I also want to show you that in my permission page, I don't have any permission authoritated given to uLaw yet. So when I go ahead and actually now authorize, let's go through what happens in uLaw. So you can always go here and authorize. As you saw here, our client ID is here. Let me go ahead and authorize. When I go ahead and authorize it, once I log in, it will basically give me a view on what I'm actually giving permissions to uLaw to do. Let's look at the calendar permissions that we're actually giving. So when I click on the landmark, these are the permissions that I'm giving uLaw to do. First one is I can create, change, delete calendars. I can update individual calendar events. This is very important because we update individual events for you. We create a brand new calendar so that we don't mix up with your existing calendar, right? And then we also allow you to kind of share that, and change who the calendar is shared with. So these are the permissions we ask. Once it's done, you hit on the continue button. Once you hit that, now you've given us all the permission. Now let's go and look at how the calendar actually looks like. This is your monthly view. I created a lot of activities. Some of the activities that I really like to stress upon is things like court visits and zoning visits, where you even mentioned your priority and the status. So now let's go ahead and synchronize this calendar. The minute I hit the synchronize button, what uLaw would do is take this calendar and synchronize it with your Google Calendar. So let's go ahead and first see what has happened on your permissions. So as you saw here in permissions, now you've given uLaw that access to the Google Calendar. It tells you that. When you choose to see it, you will see all our events here. So if I'm going to keep the two next to each other. As you see here, Friday, the court visit, the zoning is all there. So if I click on the court visit, as you see here now, the court visit is now there. It tells you, the client, the matter. To make it easy, let me actually open the zoning here and keep the two windows next to each other, so that way you can see how we have synchronized the event. Zoning search, we put the file number, the client, the matter to which it belongs, the priority and the status is also synchronized. So now if you make changes in uLaw, all you need to do is just come here and just hit now the synchronize button. You already authorized, so you don't have to authorize anymore. Just keep hitting the synchronize button so that we can basically synchronize the two calendars. If we need to do authorize, we will pop up the panel again and you have to give us the permissions and then take it from there. So to summarize, as you saw in the settings panel, if you basically set up the synchronization with Google Calendar, you will see this now show up here. First, you want us to authorize, and once you've authorized and you saw all the permissions that you're giving us, then you can synchronize with us. Now you can always revisit and revoke it by going into your app access in Google, and you can click here, and if you want to remove access, you can do that as well. So again, the idea for us is to synchronize with your Google Calendar so that whatever happens on the uLaw calendar can be expressed on the Google Calendar, and the synchronization can happen well. But if you choose not to, you can undo the service as well. Again, inside Google Calendar, rather than putting it on your main calendar, we put it in our own calendar called ulawpractice, so that way you can just mark this way or that way, and you can see it on a separate pane of text.